In today's video, we're going to be tackling something on the G35 that I've been wanting to do for a long time already. But we're going to do a double whammy with this one. We're going to be taking care of the headliner. I want to make it all black. And then we're also going to be sound deadening the roof. Since we're going to have the headliner off, we'll have some sound deadening material on the roof. And then also in little areas as we're taking off trim pieces to get to the headliner, we'll be adding some sound deadening material. This will be a double whammy. I'll get to show you guys where I apply the sound deadening material. Since we already have the sound deadening material in the trunk, we have it under the rear seats, we have it on the floor, and we also have it on the doors. So this is just a continuation on the sound deadening material that has been installed on the G35, and we're going to continue installing that on the roof and on some of the panels that I haven't taken off on the G35 yet. We'll be able to access those today. As far as the materials that we're going to need for this install, we're going to have obviously our new headliner, which is a really nice material. It's going to look really nice and feels really soft to the touch. Another thing we're going to need is the headliner adhesive. I got myself some 3M adhesive, and then we're going to have this vinyl and fabric paint. I might need to get another can, so I would just say bring 2 cans so you could do multiple coats. I didn't really think it through, and I might need to go pick up some more, but this will really be all you need in terms of installing a new headliner onto the existing one. Could also just go the route of just painting everything black. That would obviously run you a lot more cans, so you would just need to adjust the pricing to that instead of getting the headliner. So this is what I'm going to be using, and I went to Joann's, which by the time you guys are watching this, if it's a couple months after I posted this, I think Joann's running out of business, so you'll just need to find the material somewhere else that does fabric. So first thing we got to do is disconnect the battery on the G35. So the main reason we're disconnecting the battery on the G35 is just to make sure none of those airbags blow. Definitely don't want that hitting my face while I'm trying to take off the headliner, so just to avoid that, disconnecting the battery, and we should be all good. Before we can tackle the headliner, we actually need to be able to get access to the headliner, so we have to start by removing the back lower piece and the back upper piece from the rear seats. Tackle that first before we can start taking off any of the other panels. It just makes it easier this way, being able to start this side, and then from there we'll move on to these panels on the side, and then eventually get to the headliner, remove it, and be able to do all the stuff we need to get done. So now with the bottom rear and the top rear taken out of the G35, we can go ahead and start tackling these pieces that will help us not only install the sound deadening material, but also be able to take off the headliner. So there's going to be 3 things that we need to do in order to be able to take off these panels off of the G35. So first things first, we're going to use a little plastic pry tool, and we're going to pop this little sucker from the bottom. So you're going to pop it like so. It'll have a flap, so you don't need to worry about losing the piece. So there's going to be a 14mm bolt that you need to remove right here, and also we'll have to remove this little piece right here, and there's going to be a 10mm bolt that is behind this, so we need to remove those 2 right there. And then we're going to come down and go towards the seat belt, and in the bottom there's going to be an anchor bolt, and that's a 14mm, so you need to remove that one, this one, and that one. And after you have that, you'll be able to pop this panel off, and then you'll be able to pop this panel off, and then I'll show you guys what we need to do afterwards for this side. So now that we have the 2 plastic panels removed, we're all good on the back end. So now all we have to do is focus on the front end, and we'll be able to get the headliner out and have it off the car. First thing we got to do is pop off this little panel that's going to be covering this 2 Phillip head screws. So once you got these screws out, all you got to do is go to this side where the sun visor is, and you just got to pop it out like so. You twist to the left 90 degrees, and you can just pull it out. So once we have this sun visor removed, which we will have a connector that we need to disconnect right here, we'll move on to the next side, and we'll do the exact same thing. Once we get to this side, we'll pop the panel right here on these 2 sides. There's going to be 2 screws that you're going to have to remove. Same thing. We should be able to just pop off this headliner, and then once we pop this off, we'll get a couple connectors we'll have to disconnect. From there, we should be all good to go. So let's go ahead and get this done. The only thing that's stopping this cover from coming out is going to be these little rubber stops at the end. So all we have to do is take off these rubber stops, and that's literally it. I'm being kind of careful about it, but there's little grooves here to let you know where to install them, so when you install them back on, you'll know where to put them. So don't lose these, very important, or else you can have it can end up just going all the way back and then you might not be able to get it. So here's the second one, took it off. Now we can slide the sunroof cover all the way back, and then we should be able to just slide it all off. It will require a little bit of persuasion, but once you have it off, should be all good to go. And there you go. We took this off, and now that is everything that we need to take off in order to be able to do the headliner and also be able to do the sunroof cover, and then put the sound deadening material here. The sound deadening material we're going to be using today is going to be from Amazon Basics. Ended up seeing some really good reviews on the Amazon Basics sound deadening material. They were testing it out versus other brands, and it did better even though it's a thinner material. We're going to be using the Amazon Basics, and let me show you guys where we're installing it. So the first place we're going to sound treat is going to be this roof. As you can hear, there's a lot of echo, so we're going to take care of that. And then the second spot, which I already took care on this side, I ended up removing all of these bolts. In the other side, you can see it better. So I ended up removing all those 10mm bolts, and it actually leads to sheet metal on the outside. It already has a sound deadening material on the inside, and it's really thin and doesn't really do much. So I ended up using another piece that I put inside. So I took off all those 10mm bolts, and then I put it inside. And once I put back those 10mm bolts, I ended up putting this over, and it made a huge difference on the sound. So not only is this layer going to be covered with sound deadening material, but the layer on the inside has sound deadening material, and it made a pretty big difference on how it sounds. And first and second layer are going to be covered with sound deadening material, and then obviously we have the roof that's going to be covered as well. This should make a significant difference just because these do echo a lot. These are probably the most echoey panels that I've tested in the whole car. That's going to be something that'll be really nice to take care of, and also basically have the whole headliner black, and everything's going to be upgraded. Before the video continues, this video is sponsored by myself. In last week's video, I showed you guys the shirts that I do have currently on pre-order. So if you guys want to support the channel, want to go ahead and pick up a shirt for yourself, I got the G35 Rays on screen, I got the Nismo V1s and the Nismo V2s on pre-order. Pre-order does end September 21st. Check out the link on screen and check out the link in the description. Also go ahead and follow the Instagram. The Instagram will have a giveaway going on right now, so go ahead and check it out. So thank you guys so much for supporting the drop. The drop really does help out the channel a lot to be able to do mods, to be able to do videos like these for you guys. Go ahead and pick yourself up a shirt. Pre-orders do end September 21st. Now let's get back to the video. Day number 2, let me catch you guys up on what I've been up to. I just finished up wrapping this pillar. So I used the adhesive, and I ended up using the material, and then with a knife I just kind of traced along here. You can also just use like a razor blade, it'd probably be a little easier as well. I ended up just tracing, getting all the outline and allowing it to have like a flush finish. That way it's not too difficult to put back on. This piece is already done. It looks pretty nice. I did, however, use a bit of extra adhesive right here, and it left a little wet spot that's going to end up on the finished product. So something to learn when you're using this, be very careful. And if you need to add additional to the edges, I kind of think using like a Q-tip, wetting the Q-tip and then applying it will give you the right amount of coating. What's kind of interesting to me is you think that everything's gonna go really fast, and then you start looking at everything and you're like, this is gonna take a while to get it right. So that's something that I'm taking note of right now. I still haven't painted the trim pieces. That's something that I'll need to be doing, and I probably should be doing quotes while I'm doing each piece. So I'll probably go and do that right now, go clean them up and then just paint them. I'll be doing multiple coats to get good coverage. But let's go ahead and get started with this piece, and then we'll get to the headliner. Now we're inside the G35 and we're on the driver's side. So I took off the panel that I was talking about earlier in the video, and now you guys can see I put some of that sound deadening material inside. So then when I put the cover back on, I'll be putting another piece right here, and that should take care of this side. I already did it to the passenger side, so the driver's side is the only one that I needed to do it to now, and it was just a bunch of 10mm bolts, so that's all I had to do to take that little panel off. Nothing too crazy. Before we start putting everything back together, let me just show you guys everything everything that we have taken care of so far. So here we have the headliner all completed, and we also have the trim piece that was needed to be painted. Here we have two of the sun visors that we have already painted to kind of keep it clean. I also taped off the warning labels. I was debating about just painting them black so that way you can't see them, but then it just looked like a big block of just paint, so I'd rather just have the warning labels on there and kind of make it look like OEM plus. So one thing that will need to be addressed later that I'm not going to do in this video, that I'll probably just do off camera, is going to be all these little trim pieces that are attached to the car. I'm not going to go ahead and take all those off because that'd just be a lot of work just for little trim pieces. Get like a little Q-tip and I'll just paint over them, or get like a little cotton ball and just kind of dye it. That's going to be the only thing that you'll notice that will be beige or tan even once the car is all done. Driving portion of the G35, we talk about what we've done to the G35 and how that feels on the road. Currently driving in the canyons, driving down the canyons actually, but this will be a good indication of driving at speed on how it sounds inside. And honestly, it sounds very different in comparison to before with the sound deadening material in the roof and on the sides. I think the biggest difference I've noticed when doing sound deadening material was when I did the doors. The doors really made a huge difference, but I will say runner-up for this would be the roof and the side. It sounds incredibly quiet and it sounds isolated, which is a really nice feeling in this car. The Q50 that I'm driving currently, that one is super quiet when you're driving around. It has like no noise, essentially, no engine noise, no nothing, no transmission noise. Literally perfectly quiet, and it feels like a very comfortable daily. I'm slowly gonna be turning this G35 more into the Q50, more into the quieter side, everyday side. So this is just a step towards that, making sure that the car just feels very nice, very quiet, and it's still something I can daily drive if I choose to. A nice black in here, and it matches with the rest of the interior, which I think is very important. Not having that tan, which I feel like was not the move to begin with, unless you had the tan interior in the G35. Alright guys, so there you guys have it. That is going to be it for this G35 video. I hope you guys did enjoy. I hope you guys learned something. I like that the adhesive has been holding up. It's already been like a week or two since I recorded the headliner part. So this is just the continuation to that, where we did the driving portion and basically gave you my thoughts on it. With that being said, I hope you guys did enjoy this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.